right, well, welcome everybody. Welcome. My name is Greg Kunzweiler. I'm part of the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence, and we're glad to have you all here today to talk about transforming Zoom into a class. So let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to start out with PowerPoint. So can you see my full PowerPoint slide? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so let me make sure I can pull this over. All right. Got too many screens to try to manipulate here. So, all right, well, thanks for coming. So this session is going to be on transforming Zoom into a class. And so as the description talks about, we're actually going to be talking about a particular new product that this fall we're going to be looking to pilot. And we're going to be looking for some faculty members that might be willing to pilot it this fall and really be able to transform their virtual classroom space into more of a classroom space, more of, taking some of those elements from a physical classroom and bring them into the virtual space. So I wanted to start out and ask you all a couple of questions just to find out where people are at. And so you can either use the chat feature in here, or you can use the annotate feature, which I have that turned on as well, and you can find that at the top. But let's go ahead and find out, what modality do you all teach in? Do you all teach online? Do you all teach face-to-face? Do you teach a mix? Maybe some of your classes are face-to-face, some of them are online, or maybe you teach, and I'm totally drawing a blank now. One of our VTT classes or something like that. So it is kind of a hybrid version. So go ahead and put in, whether you're teaching face-to-face or online or a mix, hybrid. All right, good. So we have some face-to-face, online, face-to-face. All right, perfect. So it's kind of a mix. So let me go to our next question that I have for you all, which is, what are some of the challenges that you face teaching in Zoom? So what are some, and you can even come off mute if you want to, and just tell us, what are some of those challenges that you all have faced in just teaching in Zoom? They don't show up. Okay. Technology issues. Students have been disengaged. Okay, good. What else? Any other thoughts? What are some of those challenges?
Sometimes you have those gaps where there's silence because you don't have a script. So if people aren't responding, then you have to stop and fill in those gaps of silence.
Yep.
So it feels like you're teaching off the cuff all the time.
Exactly. And sometimes when you're online, you feel like you have to leave a little bit more of a buffer, to get answers, because you don't want to talk over one another. Whereas in the classroom, it seems like it's easier to just kind of flow through and from one person to the next. So good. Need to warn them their camera's on. Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's a difference between the people that are younger and the adults when they're on camera. Because they tend to be, I find the kids don't care, but the ones that the adults really care, like you have to let them know ahead of time that the cameras are on, and you need to be calling them by their name, and it's a lot more intense for the adult.
Yep, exactly. I've seen some of them, they just roll right out of bed and they hop on the camera, and you know, you can see their roommate walking around in the background or whatever, you know, and it's just
Well, I
like,
actually saw one that was sitting in the bed,
yep.
like during the class. I thought, oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all different ways that the students decide to come into your class. So here's the last question I'm going to ask you all, and then we'll dive right into this particular platform. But what are some of the things that you all like to do, that you all would like to do in a Zoom class that right now you feel like you can only do in a physical classroom? So maybe some of those things that you go, okay, you know what, I've taught in the physical classroom, some stuff doesn't translate very well over to the virtual space.
So things that don't translate, is that what you want?
Yeah, or just things that you know that you've done in the physical classroom before, but are difficult or almost impossible sometimes to do in a virtual space, or that just maybe don't go too well.
Almost everything works except for case scenarios, because if they have to move around the room, that's where it becomes problematic for me.
Okay. Okay, good.
Greg, we should show Maridelis that tool that we used for that meeting, where you can go in the different rooms even though you're all logged into the same thing. I can't remember what it's called right now.
It's Kuno Spaces.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, that one's free too. How do you
Yeah,
spell
so
it? Is it K-I-N-E-O?
I think it's KUMO or KUNO. Not sure.
Okay.
I'll,
Yeah,
I'll
we
look it up.
used
I'll
it.
drop the link in.
Yeah, we used that and it was really cool because you could be in the same room or not be in the same room. It was really neat.
Yep. And even when you were in the same room, you had to be close to one in a vicinity to be able to hear them. So definitely interesting there. But some people said hands-on activities, some of the group activities are a little bit more difficult to do in a virtual space. Somebody mentioned tests and quizzes. Absolutely. Can be more, especially in a synchronous class, to be able to do tests and quizzes. And so I'm actually going to show you one piece that they're building within this platform that's going to be able to help with that, to be able to do the test. So let's go ahead and jump in. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through some of the features in class. I'll just give you a brief description of some of the features, and then I'm actually going to dive into the platform and I'm going to show you what it looks like, what the interface looks like, some of the features that exist in there. One of the things I do want to preface this with, this is a new platform that they are creating right now, and they have partnered with some universities and some K through 12 schools to be able to build this platform. The person that originally came up with the idea is a former CEO of Blackboard, and he's gotten some other people and other developers to come in. And I think he has several kids, and he decided, you know what, watching the way virtual spaces are done, and with Zoom, Zoom was created to be more for business meetings and things like that, not to be really a classroom. And so they started developing this tool, and we got in early on as a university to, because once we saw this platform and the potential for it, we decided we wanted to sign on. And so we've been going to, myself and a few of the other people from IT have been going through some of the meetings and discussing how this platform is being built out. Some of the features that you'll see are fairly new, pretty new. And so It is a new platform, but one of the coolest parts about this platform that I love is the fact that they're taking in input pretty much on a weekly basis, and anybody from our university, if you're interested, could even come to the meeting. I know yesterday I sat in on one and we talked about breakout rooms. Well, we know how breakout rooms work in Zoom, but what ways can they enhance that to make it even better? One of the things to know about this platform too is it's all built on Zoom. So you have Zoom built, and then this is a layer on top of it, which changes the interface and which adds additional features. And some of those features I'm going to show you all today. It also adds an additional integration to our learning management system. And so before the fall, hopefully we'll have that set up. So those that are going to be piloting it will have the D2L integration to it. So it'll be integrated into your Gradebook, into your class roster, and that sort of thing. And similar to the way Zoom works in your D2L course shell, it'll be built in where you could go directly into D2L and set up your meetings, set up your classroom sessions. So it'll be set up pretty much the same way as well. So that's kind of a brief overview. And then at the very end, what we're going to do is we're going to do questions and answers. And so here's one of the things that they have on their website. And of some of these things that they say you can only do in the physical classroom, I think you can still do in Zoom. But some of them you really can't. You know, it's hard to have your assignments and tests that are in there. You can't really you can do one-on-one chat discussions, but you can't do one-on-one live audio discussions. And that's one of the features they're building into this tool as well. Also having the Gradebook built into it as well. And so these are features, especially some of these like the assignments and quizzes and tests and Gradebook, once we're integrated into the learning management system, those would actually exist within this particular platform. So I asked you all the question about what are the things from the physical classroom that would be nice to have over in the Zoom platform. Those are the pieces that they're trying to look at to make existent in this new platform that they're creating right now. So one of the first things, and this is what it looks like, and we'll jump in a little bit deeper. You'll see some familiarities to what Zoom looks like the toolbar at the very bottom, but you'll see some differences in the way the interface is looking and the way the classroom, the users are laid out, the participants are laid out. There's different types of views, and I'll go through the different views, which I think it's a powerful way to change it up. You know, right now you pretty much have speaker view and gallery view. Although if you're on the newest version, they have this immersive view that you can do now in Zoom. That's pretty cool as well. You can set up a seating chart. So you could put everybody in alphabetical order if you want to. So there's different views that you can do to change the interface. One of the great parts about it, I love, and I'll explain this a little bit deeper, is they have this spot up here called the podium view where you can see my face up here. I could put anybody in the podium view, but that one always stays static, especially if you end up getting more than maybe 20 people and it starts bleeding over to the next page. You want to be able to be the one up front on the podium where everyone can see. So there are some great features in there, but it's a different type of interface that you have to get used to a little bit. And we'll dive in deeper in a few minutes. So the next part is the teaching and learning tools. And this is one of the big pieces that they're wanting to differentiate from the regular Zoom and the class. They were called Class for Zoom. Now they're just called Class, or Class Technologies is the name of the platform. But one of the things I explained to you all is the D2L integration, which we're going to be working on that soon, which is going to give you integrations to the Gradebook, a class roster, then possible assessments and assignments. And you can actually create these on the fly, and I'll actually show you those in the platform once we dive in. There's some different ways of sharing content, which I really like the way they share content. And then the chat feature, they're continuing to try to improve as well, from the basic piece that Zoom has, to move forward with that. Then there's also the class management. So obviously they know as an instructor, you need to be able to manage your class. You probably want to manage attendance, your class roster, your gradebook. One of the powerful pieces that I'll show you in a few minutes is called the dashboard. And the dashboard, right now you can go to your Zoom platform or go to stleo.zoom. And after you've done one of your meetings with your class, you can pull up a report and you can see who was there and how long they were there. Well, this dashboard gives you more information. And I'll show you what the example looks like in this one in particular. They're also continuing to try to improve breakout rooms. And then they have an instructor frequently asked questions. And I'll share with you all some of this information at the very end of the presentation. So I'm actually going to leave it right on this one here. And I'll share this out a little bit later at the very end of the platform or the presentation. So you'll have a link to the website, you'll have a link to the instructor guide, and then there's this new article that we found the other day on Faculty Focus. And if you aren't already a part of or have a subscription to Faculty Focus, it's a great website that has a lot of really good articles. And this one's about increasing student engagement during synchronous online classes. And I know several people mentioned about the disengagement of students in their online class. And this is a good article that can help kind of go right along with some of the stuff in this platform. So now let me go ahead and end the slideshow, and we're going to start the screen share again here and go to the platform. All right, can everybody see the platform? We're good to go. Okay, perfect. All right, so let me go through some of the highlights from this platform. Like I said, this is called Class. And so right up at the very top, there's a couple of things once you start one of these. And I'll try to remember to add the link to. So if you all decide afterward you want to even download this and play around with it, one of the great parts about this platform is they actually have demo classes that you can go into and try them out. And that's what this one is. This is a demo class that I can go in and actually has fake students in here, fake teacher assistants in here, one fake instructor that's in here, just so you can get the feel for the platform. So you don't have to invite a whole bunch of people to it. You can start your own. Just like Zoom has a test instance that you can test a Zoom meeting, this one actually loads all of this information that I'm going to show you today right into the platform. And so you can go in by yourself and just test it out and start to get to know it a little bit more before you would actually use it with your students. So, but right up at the top, and a lot of this stuff you'll see is similar. So they have the information area. So that gives you the information like the link to it, the meeting ID. I could easily copy the link and send it to somebody else and have them join me in this link if I wanted to. The gear goes to, and you'll notice that some of this stuff is identical. Can you all see that pop-out window? Okay, perfect. I know in Zoom it doesn't always work that way, so I just want to make sure doing this that you all can see everything I see. So you can see this is identical to Zoom. It uses the same Zoom platform functions and settings because it's built on Zoom. Like I said, it's just another layer that's built on there. So you can go in and change all the different features and different settings right up front. You can see right away, this is the podium up here. So here I am. I'm running my camera right now on Zoom, so I don't want to run it again. And I think it'll mess things up if I were to have my camera running. Then you can see down below, and we're going to go through these. Here's the participant piece. And you'll notice right away there's a few differences. And so they have the participants here, and you can see whether or not they have their microphone turned on, which I don't have my microphone turned on. You can see I don't have my camera turned on. So you could look right away and tell if anybody doesn't have certain things turned on. Right now, by default, this one's all turned on. Then you can see their name. And if they have their picture uploaded, you would see that here. You can see over here, if they have this thing called verified and unverified. And so just like, we have students coming into our classes, well, they want to prevent Zoom bombing. So if they're unverified coming into your class, they're not going to have any rights to be able to do anything. And you'll know right away if somebody shows up and they're unverified, because this box would be checked and it would say that they're unverified. The next feature is called unfocused. Don't know quite how well this is working right now, but whenever this application is not their main application they're looking at, essentially you would see these little googly eyes that show up. So you can see if somebody else decided to push this platform aside and have their browser open and they're looking at other stuff, because this would actually show up. So I could go down the list and look and see, okay, you know what? I see Rob isn't focused. I might even send him a private chat and just say, hey, Rob, is everything all right, or whatever, just to make sure they're on board with following where I'm at. Obviously, we have the feedback area. And so standard, just like the feedback in the other one, you can see down below the feedback. So we can put any of these pieces of feedback in here. You can say go slower. And so you can see that'll actually show up right here. So as an instructor, you can get the students actually using this feedback just in the moment. You're going through a particular concept or whatever, and you can just say, all right, everyone, go to feedback and give me your feedback. Do you understand it? Yes, no, am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? And they can give that to you, right there in the moment. And so that allows for you to be able to keep up with where the students are at and whether they're understanding it, whether you're going too fast or too slow. And if somebody has a question, they can do the question piece, or they could raise their hand as well, because you also have the raise hand feature. And so I know that, okay, I need to stop and answer Greg's question if it's in there. One of the things I always recommend, even if you're doing screen sharing, is to try to have this piece somewhere showing up on the screen so you can see your participants there. And if there are any needs that are happening in the moment, you would actually see them show up right in this area. So that's the participants area. Then you have the chat area here. You'll notice that you can chat and send messages to everyone. I could send a message just, certain people. Maybe I just want to send a chat to James or to Chaya. And so, the chat feature works real similar to the Zoom chat feature. Then if we go up top and actually let's go to classroom management first. So this is the classroom management tool. Right now we have our class roster because when we set up our meeting, we load all of our students into the platform. And I don't know if, let's see if, I don't think on this demo they show up, but normally what you would see is all the other students would actually show up on this class roster. And I could add more students to it if I wanted to. But the attendance, let me see if this one updates. Yeah, this one updates automatically. So on this particular meeting today, I can see 32 are present, 3 are absent, and 4 were tardy. Because what you do is you have all of your students preloaded into this, so it knows who's here and who's not here. So if we look here, we can say Joe didn't show up to this one, so he's obviously absent. So it's a quick way to take attendance real fast, and you know which ones showed up on time, which ones didn't. If they were late, that shows up too. So you'll have that particular report, and you can download the whole entire report here for attendance. Then you have the gradebook, and I don't think this one's going to show up fully here. And I don't know exactly what it's going to look like once it's, I think they're slightly different depending on the LMS. So the gradebook would actually show up here. And I'm assuming that all the students will end up showing up in this area. But I've not seen a good example of it being integrated into an LMS yet. There are schools that do have theirs integrated into their LMS. It's just an LTI integration. Then we have the dashboard. So with the dashboard, just like, you know, I told you, you can go to a report and you can pull up and you can see who is there and when they showed up or how long they've been there. Well, this one actually gives you the class time, because I've been on this one for quite a while. So I've been on for 2 hours and maybe talked for a half an hour, how long the students have been talking. And so it breaks it down by, here's the attendance, time students spoke, average student talk. So it definitely gives you more data from this. And I think they're going to continue to be looking for their clients or the schools to be able to give them more information, like what other data would you want? You know, I can think like Miradelis, obviously, you know, you're looking for new data, and being able to look at this and go, okay, you know what, we would like to know this and maybe like this. And so definitely, as we start to use this platform to be able to give them some additional feedback, but hopefully this becomes a rich dashboard that instructors can use to be able to see how things are going in their classroom, how they're interacting with their students. Am I spending the majority of my time talking to my students and not letting any of my students interact back and forth at all? As you can see even here, you know, 21 times, you know, hands were raised or feedback was given. Chats in the class, chats to the teacher, personal chats. So you can definitely see where your time was spent in your class by using this dashboard. I'm not going to go through the breakout rooms because that's pretty much exactly the same as what the breakout rooms are in the Zoom platform. Now let's go ahead and jump over to the teaching tools. So once we have our integrate, right now, if you just go to teaching tools, if you were on the regular platform, I think only the polling would show up, nothing else would. Once we're integrated to a learning management system, then all of these can be turned on. So You have a spot for your syllabus, so you can load your syllabus into here. You can do assignments, and this is where you can actually even create a new assignment. The great part about this is you can go ahead and create a new assignment and launch it right in the platform. That's what they're trying to do with the integration with the learning management system and this whole platform, is being able to allow teachers to launch certain things that they would normally maybe hand out a paper to students or have the students take a test right in class. They can launch it right from the platform when they're in there. So I could actually go up to create a new assignment and put in the assignment name. So let's just do test assignment, and then put in your text here. And then what the grade is, 100, when it's due, online text or file submissions. So whether you want them just to give you some online text or a file submission, we'll click this one. I'll go ahead and hit save. And then it adds it directly in here. So now what I can actually do is I can click the launch button and launch this assignment right into the classroom. So in the moment, the students can actually do that particular assignment. So that's the assignments piece. So let me go ahead and I'll see if I can launch this one here. So you can see this is actually launched. And so students can actually go ahead and do, I don't think there's anything to do with this one. So we'll change this up, but it would actually launch right into the platform. So the students will be able to work on it from there. So let's move on to the assignment or assessments, quizzes, and tests. So here's where you could actually create, and probably within this platform, I don't know how well this will integrate with D2L and maybe the quizzes in there, but you can actually create a new assessment, maybe an informal assessment that you want to give your students right in the platform. And so you can go right here to, let's say it's on animals. I'll go ahead and launch it. And so they can go ahead and go through and do this quiz right here on the platform. And then once they submit all of their answers, I'll be able to see that as the instructor. And it's all built directly into the platform. So you can do that as well. One of the great pieces, and I didn't show you all this, is each time you launch something new, they have this tab feature. And I love this because before it was always you had to toggle between stuff, or Zoom doesn't work that well for this, to be able to have stuff up ahead of time. So like whenever I teach, whether I teach online or I teach face-to-face, usually what I do is before class starts is I pull everything up that I'm going to use as far as my resources go. So it might be a website, it might be a video, it might be something else. And I have all of my tabs and those applications open. So I can literally, there's no me loading things up. They're already loaded. Well, one of the great parts about this platform is you can go ahead and have all your stuff preloaded in here as a tab, and then all of those things will actually show up. So let me go ahead and pull up this, another one of these tests. So I go ahead and hit launch, and you can see that's another tab that I could have sitting here waiting to launch that for the students as well. So the students would just go through and I would say, okay, now go to the assessment, the human body, and let's go ahead and take the quiz right here in the moment. And so they would actually take that right there. Polling works the same way as the polling polling works in Zoom. Presenter mode is not working yet. So some of these features you'll actually find they're in the process of building these out. Because this is a new platform, there are certain things that don't function just yet. So there's that one, there's whiteboard, That one's not. Now browse the web. This is one where I said, if you go ahead and come up with your websites that you might want to show your students, then they can actually pull those up. So let's just say, let's launch this one. So I'll go ahead and launch it. You'll see it launched another tab and it shows up over here. One of the great parts about this too, and this is what's the different piece from Zoom to this platform, is now that I launched this right here, the students have the capability of being able to manipulate this page. So they could actually do their own clicking on the link from here if they wanted to. But let me show you how to actually create. Let's get rid of this one and we'll get rid of the next one. So if I click browse the web, and now let's go back over here to edit it. So you can see I got the web page name, enter web page URL, and I go ahead and hit submit. Then once I launch it, the students will be able to actually manipulate that particular page. Now let's do the play a video, and we'll add play a video. So let's do Bio 101 lecture. I'll go ahead and launch it. So here's where it gives you an option on video control. Sometimes with videos, you want the students to watch it right there with you. And you may want to pause it and move it through or whatever. Or you might just want to give the students, if maybe it's a 3-minute video, you may want to just give the students 5 minutes to watch it. You could let the students have control of it. So if they're watching it and they want to pause it for a minute and then go back, they can if you give them rights as a student. But if I don't want them to have the playback rights, I could click it as a teacher, and they would actually just show up and I would be able to manipulate the controls from here. So I can go ahead and start the video and watch it with them. They won't be able to pause it. They won't be able to fast forward it or anything else. But you can see that one added another tab up here. So I could go ahead and add the video as a tab up here ahead of time if I know that's one of the videos that I want to run. You can also share files. So I can actually go up and I can add files here and put in a file. So let's say we want to add this lecture 4 and launch that one. So you can see the PDF is going to load up. So we can actually go through that as well. So if you have a PDF or a Word document or something else that you want to share with your class, you can go ahead and pull it up as another tab and run through that as well. So those are a few of the great features with the teaching tools feature. Let me go ahead and show you just a couple more things that I really like. Let's go back to the classroom view. So right now you can see, obviously I'm at the podium. I have what's called the class cam. And so let's say you were teaching in a classroom, but you had some other students that are teaching or that are online. But you're using one of the, what we call the webcam or the Pringles can that we have in the classroom. And you want to take that video and make that the classroom cam video. You can go ahead and I click this video and I can set the camera here. And so it allows me to give it a name. So I can say, this is the instructor camera, this is the classroom camera, and actually have one called the sign language camera. And so you could give it one of those names. You could actually change the role of this person from instructor to teacher assistant to student. So the teacher assistant is probably more like a co-host in the environment as well. There's some rights, but not all rights that the instructor has. You can see right here, I could absolutely remove this person if I wanted to, just like you could do in Zoom. But one of the features that I did want to show you too that I really like is the different views they have. So you can see right now, we're going to go to alphabetical view. So I'm going to click on alphabetical, and you can see suddenly it went alphabetical. So all my students, especially if you take attendance, it makes it much easier to be able to look and find where people are at. You know, once you get a lot of people, sometimes it's hard to keep up with where everyone's at in class. You also have this one, it's hands raised. So if you're an instructor that really promotes the students raising their hand in class for questions, you could have it set on this one. So you know right away whether these students are raising their hand, and you can go right to those students, say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna find out you know, what their question is. There's also feedback. So those that have given feedback would show up at the top, and then everyone else would show down below. And then there's also the participation one. So what this does is it puts the person, the people that have most recently participated show up at the top, the ones that have done less participation in the middle, and the ones that probably haven't participated at all are down below. And so what they're marked in different colors. So green would mean these people are really participating, and yellow, they're kind of participating. And we don't have any in red, but if they were in red, showing up in red, then they're not really participating at all. They haven't done anything in chat or given any feedback, that sort of thing. So those are some of the different views that you can set up. But the great part about the layout I love is the fact that they can put this as a podium view, and you can put others up here and the different other views that will show up at the very top. There's also gonna be what's called a proctoring view. What they're actually in the process of doing, and they've gotten some feedback from some of the people that are in the pilot about building a full proctoring tool built into this. And so we're actually in discussions with them about that and how they're putting that together, because I think as a university, we are interested in being able to use that, you know. And so some of the features with the focusing and other pieces that can be built in to allow you to proctor an exam, an online exam, they're wanting to build that piece into this tool as well. So I think that's just about it. Let me open it up for any questions. Are there any questions right now? Anything I need to highlight over again? All right. So let me stop sharing this, and I'll reshare the last slide I had for the PowerPoint. I will have this posted up on our website. So let me actually see if I can share. Let me stop sharing here, and I'll post these in the links, or these links in the chat, so you all will have those as well. All right, so let me post these. Here's that's the website to the main website to this platform. And so there's some other information on there. There's a great video, like an introduction video that he talks about. Just know if you do the video that he talks about, some of the features that he'll even mention in there's a couple of them, like one-on-one conversations and one or two other ones that don't quite exist yet in the platform for us to be able to use, but they're in the process of building them out right now. So So let me send you all, this is the link to that faculty focus article. It's a great one on engagement in the synchronous online class. And then here is the instructor guide for that particular platform. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for any instructors that are interested in possibly piloting it this fall. So if you are interested, just reach out to myself. And actually, let me go ahead and I'll type in my email address. If you are interested in it, we'll be looking for some instructors to pilot it this fall. We'll be doing some training for those. We'll give you all opportunities to be able to test it out beforehand. And if anybody's really interested, I can even share with you all on every Tuesday afternoon at 2:30, we do a session with the company where they bring a particular feature like breakout rooms that they did this week. And they ask for feedback from the different schools. And so they'll ask you, how do you use breakout rooms, or how can you see breakout rooms, you know, being used? How can we redevelop the tool to make it more teacher friendly or more student friendly? You know, what are the things in the chat feature that should be built in that they could do, you know? So those are the types of things each week. Their design team and their development team are actually there asking questions and getting feedback from the clients. So if those that are interested in possibly piloting it would want to attend those as well, I'd be happy to share the link as well. So any last questions or feedback? I'm going to turn it over to Melissa for one more thing.
Great. Thank you so much, Greg. That was really, this is an exciting time to see how this is developing. And as part of the CTLE, we wanted to thank everybody for joining us today as well. And we would like your feedback on this presentation today and to inform any of our future offerings. So if you don't mind, it'll take just a few minutes. There is a link to a Qualtrics survey in the chat, and we would greatly appreciate any feedback. Thank you.